think it's time we get the motor back in the car. Let's get to it. Alrighty, yeah! Alright, we got the cam ready to roll. I want to put some pre-lube on the bearings while I can here. Stick my fingers in there because it's pretty tight. Yeah, get that back bearing nice. Little pre-lube. I'm gonna put a lot of it on the cam. So, first thing we want to do. Now I don't want to gum up the whole. Can. I'm gonna put it on as I go. Okay, that way I can handle it without making a mess. You know. Basically, just like that. Put some everywhere. Okay. A generous amount. Okay? Generous amount. Bloop, 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 bloop. And a lot in the front here. Nice. Okay. There it is. Boom. Very nice. Alright, oil pan's painted. It's got some dents in it, but long story. Finding parts, I'm not going to replace that. But anyway, we got the camshaft in, and I want to just go over a couple things before we put the timing chain on these motors. Right here's a little oiler. Okay? Got to make sure that's not plugged. I know it just came from the machine shop, but what I do is, make sure it's not plugged and lubed. We are going to put the timing chain on. Let's go. Alright, what I use, it's a piece of pipe. Fits right over my gear. Tap around nice. Okay, all the way. Alright. She's on as far as she's gonna go. Maybe a little more. There we go. Now it's on. All right, you can see both dots are lined. Both dots are lined up. Put this bad boy on. Only goes one way. Now we're going to torque these bolts. This drives the mechanical fuel pump. Let me just snug these up quick and we'll torque them. Alright, this is the cam tensioner spring. Holds the tension back on the cam. This little plate here, this goes over top of the lower timing chain gear. And what it does is, it keeps oil from splashing back on the seal. Keeps the oil off the seal so it don't leak. Okay, boom. Okay, water pump housing seal, brand new one. Made in USA. Replacement. Let's put this on. Here's a little tip for you. Tip number 4,327. Take your bolts. Take your bolts, for example. Water pump bolts, right? I put them in an old Folger can, okay? Put a little power, purple power, yeah! Put some of that in there. Close the lid. Okay, you get the idea. There it goes. Alright. I'm using the 1/2 inch bolt holder. Just for now. Right? Sweet. Now the water pump gasket I normally put on dry. It only goes on one way too, so you really gotta spin it until it lines up. There it goes. All right, brand new water pump. Brand new water pump. All right, Mr. Water Pump. Mr. Brand new water pump. Snug on the water pump. Okay. Let me snug that up. I don't quite remember. I think these are somewhere else. But these are definitely water pump bolts. Now I gotta put the water pump housing. I gotta put the water pump housing on in the water pump before I put the oil pan on, because this wraps around the bottom. I'll show you when I flip the motor. All right. Okay. Put the motor mount on first before we put the balancer. Because if you don't, you're not going to be able to get to the bolts. So we got to put the motor mount on first. There we go. Like butter. Now I'm going to probably take the balancer back off and mount it after I get this in the car. It's easier just to get to the front motor mounts. Alright, we flipped the motor over. I want to take some mineral spirits. I'm going to wipe off the surface here before we put the gasket down for the oil pan. We have the 2 cork seals have to go in yet. Just want to wipe everything down nice. Take all the oil off before we put the oil pan on. Okay, and before we put the oil pan on, I think it's important that we put the oil pump on. Okay, this little screen goes in here. Okay, right there. Okay. Alright, I'm going to apply some RTV here, right on the corners here of this seal. And I'm going to put a little bit above here. Just a skim. I know the rubber gasket's going to seal, but a little precaution. Same thing here in the front. And that's that. That's it. Alright, I'm going to try to hand tighten all of them before I snug them all. And we'll try to wipe down some of the extra goo we got laying here. There's only like 1,000 of them to put in, so should go quick. We should start in the middle. Snuggle in the middle. Ow. Then I'll torque them. Okay. Let me wipe the goop off. Let me get a clean rag and wipe off the goop. Okay. You go through all that trouble to paint it. At least make it look nice for a little bit, right? I just want to show you what we got here. Instead of using the stock submersible, oil filter, I'm putting on, or actually the motor came with, this is an adapter, all right? This is an adapter that has your oil pressure valve and it has the sending unit right on here. But it also comes with just a standard STP, filter. It's an S25, which is your screw-on cartridge type. And these are like four and change, maybe almost $5. Where, these are like $25. Okay. Plus, it's easier to do an oil change with this. Just something I wanted to show you. Here we go with the fuel pump. Now, I put my own fuel pressure gauge right on the fuel pump. This is a stock double pump mechanical fuel pump. It still has the glass bowl on the bottom. Now, in comparison, you can get. Well, you used to be able to get just a regular, Chevy fuel pump for $35, maybe even less. This guy is going to run you rebuilt almost $300. Just the way it is. So let me bolt this guy up. Get him on. Need my gasket here. Okay. All right, one of the things we're going to have to do, we're going to have to take our oil filter and we're going to fill this up with oil and then screw it on. Because we're going to prime this motor through the distributor. Before we put the distributor in, I got a socket and we're going to prime the motor with the oil pump. Make sure we got oil pressure, the whole 9 yards, before we even put the motor in the car. Okay, this is the oil I run. Okay, it's Lucas oil. It has zinc in it. You got to run zinc in these old cars, okay, for lubrication on the cam, on the valves, everything. So let's prime this. Let's prime this filter. Put this oil filter on. Filter's on. Filter's on, hand tight. Just snug it. That's it. Alright. lifters. We're gonna put our lifters in before we do anything else. Now lube these puppies up real good. Put them in. Let me show you. These lifters, made in USA. Don't put Chinese parts in a classic car. Thank you. All right, we got our brand new head gaskets. Boom, going on. We're gonna set this head on here. Should be a pin, alignment pin. There it is. I got 2 bolts just to hold it so it doesn't fall off and crush my foot, etc., etc. All right, let me just snug that bolt. All right. Snug that so it doesn't go anywhere. Yeah, this motor is 760 pounds when it's assembled, which is an average small block Chevy's 400 and some. So it is a lot heavier. So I put a 2x4 just on the front of my engine stand, just in case. Not that I don't trust the bolts and the etc., but you can never be too careful. Now, I'm going to put the bolts in. I'm going to torque these heads, right? I also want to show you something. I have already pumped oil around the motor with my little adapter here. I ran a socket down to the shaft on the oil pump, crank that up, so we have oil circulating everywhere, which is great. I wanted to pre-oil the motor before I even put it back in the car. So we have the valley pan. We're gonna put the valley pan in and probably put the exhaust manifolds on. All right, and that's it. I'm not going to put the intake on until it's in the car. Unless I put the old one in, just use it as a lift. I put the plate to lift, because the motor is very heavy to lift with just, the 2 bolts. We're going to see. But I'm glad we got some oil circulating. We're going to continue assembling this. As we're getting towards the end here, we got the rocker arms. We're going to take this apart and clean this, lubricate this, make sure everything, all the oil, galleys, and ports are open. Okay, we're gonna clean this up and get it back on the heads. All right, that's it. take it right off. Take it off in the way it's assembled. Alright, start in the middle, work your way out. Alright, we got the motor almost complete. I'm gonna put the valley pan in. I gotta paint it yet. Put the exhaust manifolds on, but we are really close. We are gonna be ready to roll, and by the weekend. So, thanks for stopping by. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you again.